preference for Vox, Koshka, and Grace as their top 3, they also pick so many multiple different heroes, and well, there's that Vox.
And generally speaking, they're incredibly successful on those heroes as well. The Vox, as you say, is going to get locked in. Baron will be the answer, and immediately followed by a Black Feather ban.
And with the Black Feather taken off the board, that's again a pick that, or a ban that's going to try and force maybe a little bit of less aggressive play coming out from Cloud9. Lyra banned away, there's going to be the Batiste. This kind of forces the Cloud9 to play something that can deal with a lot of crowd control. Obviously, the Catherine's already off the table, so you don't have to worry about picking that up, as a guarantee type of thing. But you still need to find some way to deal with the Fearsome Shade and the Ordained, and likely echoed Fearsome Shade as well, to be able to get onto that Baron.
Yeah, and this is something that I kind of played out. We ran multiple draft simulations and scenarios. And Cloud9 will probably go with, a really aggressive composition like Fortress Koshka, like they had before, into a Baptiste. And then now, with that, Gankstars need to pick a support that could counter that potentially.
So what kind of supports are available to go into a composition like this? What counters the Fortress Koshka?
You need something that's durable, because obviously Fortress Koshka are going to be trying to go very aggressive early on. It doesn't even necessarily have to be a captain, because they can just put the Batiste into the captain position and look for a jungler for themselves. Gankstars have played a lot of, Kestrel. They used to be playing the Grumpjaw a lot. Obviously, that hasn't really been the case of late, but it's a risky pick, but they could try and make it work just to have that massive early game presence just to try and, counter out the early game that Cloud9 is looking to have.
Is there a argument to go with the Batiste as a captain and swap out what goes into the jungle instead? Apparently the answer is no. It's going to be a Finn locked in for the captain position for Gankstars. So we have our compositions locked in. Once again, we see this super aggressive composition coming out from Cloud9. Like, you don't even have to ask how they're going to play this game. With a Fortress and a Koshka and a Vox, like, it's spelled out that they are going to be incredibly aggressive from the word go here.
Yeah, for sure. The Fortress is going to put a lot of early game pressure. Koshka is so strong early with Fortress, but Baptiste does pretty well into Koshka. As long as Gankstars can rotate and protect and not lose jungle early game, I feel like they can make it to a late game. And I think late game, Gankstars would win this matchup.
All right, it's going to be an interesting one. Now, I'm curious about the Finn pick, because Finn, it's this hero that often he's there to peel, right? He's there to try and protect the carries and be that big, bulky front line. Is he going to be able to get into the game quick enough to be effective here?
Yeah, he could definitely. It just means that Gankstars need to be a little bit more passive a little bit in their jungle. Finn, able to provide the fortified health, can really counter out a lot of the burst that's going to come through, and can try and keep the teams together.
All right, well, we'll see if he can pull that together and pull this one off. There's a lot of pressure on the shoulders of each of these players, especially on the side of Gankstars. We want to know who you guys at home are going to be supporting. Do you want Cloud9 to fight for that first place seed, or do you want this to go the way of Gankstars and see them heading towards the Unified Live? Let us know on Twitter using that hashtag Vainglory8. But I think it's about time that we jumped into our very first quarterfinal of the North American Vainglory 8 Week 3 Split 2. Let's jump into this one, Cloud9 and Gankstars.
Welcome to North America, ladies and gentlemen, the land of the free of opportunity, the home of the American dream. Anyone here at Scoundrel can take their way to the Unified Western Live Championships in LA next month, and it's going to be pretty exciting to see which teams book their ticket.
Yeah, look, it's not worth delving into possibilities because they are literally endless at this point in time, but all we know, Gankstars definitely needs at least a point here, but ideally a win over C9, who have already secured their place. But C9 and TSM have still got things to play for this weekend, so they're not going to give that up easily as we dive into our first game of this quarterfinal, Darcy.
Yeah, really exciting stuff for Cloud9 and TSM. If they were to win both their series today, they would face each other in the semi-finals tomorrow. But a bit of a fight breaking out. Gankstars looking to make the first move. Won't be able to find Gabe Fizzle just yet, and there's going to be backports all around.
So if there is one team in North America, maybe one team in the world right now, that can make Fortress work and make Fortress work well, it's Gabe Vizzle and C9. They are one of the only teams that I think I've seen pull off these heavy dive engage comps and actually get away with them. However, it's really going to be reliant on Crucible timing today, Dowsy. Gabe Vizzle will have to be MVP once more, as he so often is for the Cloud9 team. Because that disengage from Gankstars, the ability to lock down the mobility from Koshka on that Batiste with his Ordained is going to be very, very high. You feel that if Fearsome Shade lands and isn't blocked, game over for C9.
And not only that, there's a Forced Accord on the side of Gankstars as well, so there's many things to consider when blocking, but there's one man I would have in charge of my Crucible Scoundrel. It's Mr. Gabe Vizzle. He is a god when it comes to them. We've seen it time and time again, him able to just turn team fights around with the perfect Crucible time and time again. So if I was Gankstars, I would be slightly concerned that the man in charge of that ability is Gabe.
And Gankstars are in a very odd position, probably one of the oddest positions that I think they've felt themselves in quite a while, especially in terms of the standings. They are at risk of not going to a unified live championship. That would be devastating for an org of this quality. So I think it's really important they pick up points here, because it makes the likelihood that they secure their spot, even if they don't win the series, by just securing one game, that much higher. And I genuinely think Gankstars had the better draft here, but Gankstars do sometimes come away with the better draft and often have trouble executing it. Especially Xeno's been on a bit of a downward turn in terms of his jungle performances of late. I know for confidence reasons he's going to want to get back to things. He's back to streaming though, as I Love Joseph moves back in.
Oh, this is a fight breaking out in the jungle. Scoundrel Xenotech's in trouble. Gabe is looking for the kill. Can Joseph get in there? It doesn't look likely. Everyone's coming down to the jungle for a bit of fun, but no death's going to be had just yet. And I was going to bring that up, Scoundrel. Xenotech, I believe, an emotional player. I think we've seen that before. At the Unified Western Live Championships, he was on form, a monster in London. And I think it was just due to the rolling effect of winning game after game and being that carry form. Now back to streaming, now back to what he knows best. Perhaps that's enough. Old School will go down though in the lane! And they make it work. Gankstars, Xenotech roaming up for the gank. That's going to be first blood to Araki Zoro.
Old School a little bit too lax in terms of his safety in lane there. All Xeno did was have to walk into the top brush, and Old School was like, he's backed. Absolutely backed, but Xeno stuck around, landed that Ordained, and Old School didn't hold his ground. Maybe just half a second more, he might have been able to dash outside of that Ordained, but felt like he had to get out of the way of the Baron ASAP, and that ended up stunning him and dealing extra damage regardless. So Old School, a little bit lax with his safety, but maybe also pulling the trigger on his Sonic Zoom a little bit early as well. But this is good signs, despite actually the gold advantage due to the aggressive nature of Joseph in the jungle being there. Joseph's is that Joseph? I mean, this must be a bug on my screen, but it looks like he's at 41 creep score right now. I think he's picked up a bit in the lane as well. Major advantages over Xeno, doubling that jungle creep score.
Yeah, no, that's pretty insane. I see it as well, so if that's the case,
that's how insane it was, Dowsy. I thought it was a bug.
Yeah, no, I don't know what to say, Scoundrel. I think he has stolen a lot of Xenotech's farm. We've seen the invades already from Cloud9. We definitely saw a full rotation go to him as Joseph with the Yummy Captain Frenzy ready, looking for a bit of fun in the jungle. Rakizora has to be a little bit careful. On this Baron, very mobile, but of course nowhere near overdriving his jump jets yet, which would make him a very safe hero.
He's got the reflex block though. This is a classic move against Koshka. North America were the sort of the proprietors behind that. Every time you know that Koshka's going to be nearing 6, you need to have a reflex block on hand. Simple reason being that a level 6 Koshka ultimate will absolutely crush you in a gank if you don't have a way to block it. So it's basically a free kill if you don't have the reflex block there to stop that from happening. Xenotech working towards his Shatterglass I don't really think he's got a reflex block on the card or on the mind right now. Depends if he wants to delay that Shatterglass much more than he already is. We'll have to see.
Yeah, and you see Gabe is already moving towards that super important Crucible. Cloud9 actually making an aggressive move here, and they've caught Gankstars completely out of rotation. A free Crystal Sentry for them at 6 minutes. No hope of Gankstars rotating to stop that from going over. Araki will push the wave into the lane, into the turret. Does mean that some of the farm's going to go down the drain. Then look to catch out Old School as well. There's the Ordained, but it's blocked up. It will be Cloud9 walking to safety.
Really, really good push by C9. What you do is you push the lane. You make Baron have to farm under his turret, and then you find some sort of objective on the map. They didn't feel safe enough to go for a half-stack gold miner. Probably wasn't worth it in the first place. But as an aggressive composition, we might have a fight breakout.
Yeah, fight is breaking out his Scoundrel, but can Cloud9 turn it around? That's going to be the Fearsome Shade, pushing them back. It looks like Gankstars aren't having none of it just yet. Without that forced accord, definitely not really wanting to pull anyone too close to the Baron. It's a little bit risky, especially when I Love Joseph still sitting on that Yummy Company Frenzy. They're starting up gold mining here, 7 minutes in. They're just recognizing that there's not much early game threat out of Gankstars. It's going to be the gold mine going over. An Iron Cannon does hit their heads. Araki dives forward, a lot of damage down onto Joseph, but Gankstars cannot find the kill.
Way too many early item spikes, I think, right now for Gankstars to have to play into. You know, you're already seeing the Poison Shiv on Old School. He's working towards that Tension Bow now. Joseph had got an Aftershock and a Heavy Prism, making him a very hard-hitting kitty. And again, he's going to take not yet at his first item spike. Iraqi, although he does do okay with a Sorrow Blade, still not where Baron is the strongest in the game. Couldn't afford a team fight realistically, and what C9 are doing is pushing the limits on what they can achieve in the early game. And they need to, Dowsey. They need to be pushing this early game because they know they have the advantage here. So by forcing things like Goldmine, you get a global advantage in your favor that either brings Gankstars to contest it or just you outright get it because Gankstars don't feel comfortable doing that. So it's just good moves by C9. And you know, we were chatting earlier about the Crystal Sentry. It's good that C9 took that out when they had the chance, because the quicker you can take Crystal Sentry down as a dive composition, the less area of the map that the Gankstars team can retreat to, as you can see.
Well, they're trying to do it again, and it doesn't look like Gankstars are even interested in initiating the fight. That's the second life of the Crystal Sentry down at 8 minutes. And this global gold advantage that Cloud9 have built for them has meant that Gabe Bizzle at level 6 has got that Crucible online. We've talked about how important it is for Cloud9 to have that item ready to go. That does mean that now that the Force Accord is there, a second Fearsome Shade could come out from Xenotech at any point. I have to see how he's able to play around it.
I mean, you're never engaging a fight with Force Accord as Gankstars. That's never going to happen, right? Because you're pulling a dive composition towards you. I mean, unless you're going to be playing it into a specific combo, you know, you're going into a Fearsome Shade directly off the Force Accord. I don't think you ever make that move as Gankstars.
It's very interesting because they picked the Finn up as last ex-Scoundrel in the draft, so they clearly feel like the Finn is the right choice against this dive comp, and it's because of those quibbles, I believe. I wouldn't even be surprised if we see an Echo come out of MacDaddy in the late game so that he can double quibble.
Absolutely. Also, look at the War Treads, Dowsey. Look at MacDaddy's prioritization. No need for a Crucible realistically versus C9. If everybody gets their own individual reflex blocks, Finn's never going to get targeted because he can't.
Oop.
Wait a second.
Fight breaking out. There's going to be Cloud9 looking for it. That's a huge silence all across, but the Fearsome Shade does come through. Yummy Company Frenzy on top of Xenotech. He's going low, and he will go down to Old School. Now it's going to be Iraqi Zoro falling. Only leaves MacDaddy for the double, and the ace Cloud9 find themselves 3.
And this could be the final Crystal Sentry life here, giving no retreat in their side of the jungle for Gankstars. The major issue with that fight was the disengage from Gankstars was simply perfect. It was so good from Xeno, but I think they got a bit ahead of themselves, Dowsey. They said, okay, we got a great disengage. It was a massive Fearsome Shade. Let's take the fight. Not understanding that this is not in the point in the game where Gankstars composition wants to fight in the slightest. They should have been happy that they didn't die in that scenario. Backed off, cleared the turret, went back to farming, saying we're not at 15 plus minutes yet. That's, you know, we need some more time to come online. But unfortunately, they went a little bit aggressive.
They're going again, Cloud9 looking for more. That's going to be an ordained quibble, but it doesn't matter. Araki once more losing his life. Old School subs out. Joseph in. Xenotech dead. And that's another race. Cloud9 have taken over ex-Scoundrel. Last fight won them the last Crystal Sentry life and a turret. Now they're just going to take the game, it seems, now that they've got this newfound confidence.
Well, they took that one fight, it got them so many global advantages on the map, and suddenly C9 able to just pull the trigger whenever they damn well feel like it. absolutely ridiculous pressure now. And unfortunately, Gankstars, when you have this kind of composition, you're not designed to fight in the mid game. You're not designed to fight up against the aggressive dive nature of C9. You need the items behind you. You need the item spikes as well for Iraqi Zoro. He needs at least 3. And Gankstars have almost hit that magic number of taking 3 turrets before Baron gets 3 items. And that's when you know you're doing well against a Baron composition. I don't know. I think Gankstars threw it away with that one simple engage in their own tri-brush Dalsy. They gave C9 just incredible amounts of gold on the map. Incredible amounts of gold. That was like 3,000 in one go.
It's crazy when you look at the gold difference for Cloud9. It was at 4,000 Scoundrel at the last fight. It's now at a whopping 6,000, almost at 7 if you look at it. In fact, it is 7. My maths doesn't deceive me. It is just a whole 7,000 gold, and Cloud9 will look to use every little bit of that gold against the side of Gankstars. Old school, he's finished his build as far as weapon is concerned. He's got an Aegis as well. Xenotech, arguably the strongest member on the side of Gankstars. He's ready for that, and he's got the block. Joseph, he's Koshka. And actually, when you think about it, I Love Joseph can play this Koshka in the late game to a really high standard.
Absolutely, the broken myth comes through. That gives the longevity to Koshka and her abilities. Just huge damage that she can gain from this now. And again, elongated fights. There's nowhere for Gankstars to hide. They have to face C9 or just retreat behind their turrets. And C9 will be looking to chase down whenever they get the opportunity to do so. Gold mine not big enough to warrant taking. They're just probably going to push this lane in. And you can see Gankstars just now unable to move on the map at all. Unable to move out of their own base. They can't find sanctuary in their own jungle because the crystal sentry is down. Just means that C9 is able to starve them of map pressure on almost every aspect, and that's going to limit gold income. And I think what you see here from C9 is they're pushing in, but by taking the crystal sentry, and with the map pressure that they've got, it's basically just completely, as that disengage. Great crucible from Gabe, by the way. It's completely starved Xenotech of any gold, meaning that this late game orientated composition is going to struggle to get to late game because the gold income is just now that much lower.
Yeah, you look at I Love Joseph practically double Xenotech's farm at this 13-minute mark because he has said, you know what, I don't farm my own jungle anymore, Scoundrel, I farm your jungle. This is my jungle, get out of my jungle. Gankstars will oblige happily. Does look like they may look to try and force the issue, at least get some farm over to Xenotech, but it's only going to be Mac Deadly caught out for that. Silenced on up, Xenotech throws the Fist of Shade, Old School blocks it, walking forward, it's a kill to Joseph, and the Yummy Captain Frenzy won't be able to find this done, but it doesn't matter, Iraqi is dead, Old School loses his life to the dive, but now it's only Xenotech left alive, and Joseph's going to piece on out of town. Gabe Vizzle also happy to do so, but they could turn and they will. Xenotech, he's going low. He throws out the bad mojo, but it's only his death. Another ace to Cloud9. They're going to look to take this choke point.
Just no real form of defense for Xeno, bar a tier 1 shielding and the reflex block. And I just think Gankstars, I don't blame them for taking the fights they did in this game, Dalsy, because if this was a team that spiked earlier, their setups were beautiful. Some of these fearsome shades in the mid game from Xenotech were just really good. So I don't blame them for turning around and saying, whoa, we can fight off this, because that was just an insane turnaround, an insane counter engage. But you have to know when you're strong and you have to know when you're weak. And Gankstars found incredible engages when, as a composition, they were weak at that point in the game. Or they found incredible counter engages, I'll correct myself.
Sure.
At a point in the game where they were just weak as a composition.
Let's
they should have just
strength
as
well, Scoundrel, because Iraqi Zoro, he finished his Aegis as his 3rd tier 3 item on Baron. Normally, we see Barons, even when behind, just go 4 weapon power offensive items, and then they think about defense. Iraqi, he's scared, and he's justifiably scared because of the amount of power Cloud9 have. A whole 10,000 gold ahead of them at 15 minutes. The Kraken being started up at spawn, and there's actually nothing that Gankstars can do about it. I'm very interested to see if they do push forward and look for the God still, and if they do and they fail, it's game over. Here we go. Gankstars are going to make this move up. Xenotech's going to get dived upon. The silence comes out. The Fist of Shades blocked, and Xenotech is dead. Araki's trying to lay down the damage, but he will go down. And Mac Daddy, last man standing. It's the ace. Cloud9, they've got 20 seconds to take the base, and they're going to go for it.
Gankstars' hopes of securing a guaranteed live final spot are being clawed away by this aggressive composition from C9. A dominating win from a team that we have come to expect this level of calculated aggression from over the years that we've seen them play as a unit. It's it was just really wonderful to watch, but I think a lot of the onus has to come down to when Gankstars tried to force fights or even tried to, let's rephrase that, Dalsy, tried to capitalize on their counter engages. I think they needed to wait longer. They were making great counter engages, don't get me wrong, they were beautiful, but they needed to wait longer before actually making something of them.
Yeah, no, it was pretty impressive.